Wayne's World intro, right? No? Okay, sorry. Guys, Josh Wells with JD Shipley here, Barbell Calling. We're back at it again, guys. Today, we're going to talk about, do I need to be in shape first before coming into the gym? We're going to go over, do I need to earn the right to be here? We're going to meet you in the middle, training versus exercise, and then health and confidence benefits from doing all of this. So let's start off from the top, man. Do I need to earn the right to walk through the door and train with us?
No, right? It's in that like I'm gonna lose weight and then I'll diet, right? Like no. There's a reason why it's called starting strength. Why is it called starting strength?
Because we start from the very, very basic things. God, I've been doing this for such a long time, and it's the number one thing that drives me up a wall, that people walk through the door, they're excited to be here, and they're like, okay, well, I'll come back in like 2 months.
It's essentially an excuse.
It is. It absolutely is. And look, I understand walking through the doors and you see us, we greet you at the door and it's like,
two bearded guys.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm in the wrong place. Had a woman actually do that. Had a woman come in and be like, yeah, this is not for me. And we're like, hold on. It is. Because if you can squat down to the benches that we're even sitting on and stand back up, that's a starting point.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. We're going to find out where to perfectly start you. When I say perfect for that day, for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be that you come in and you squat 135, 405, whatever that first day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can we teach you how to squat, how to press, how to bench press, how to deadlift? Can we teach you those things? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, we can. We 100% can.
Why is that the case? Why do you not need to get in shape in order to come here first? Let's talk about that.
So, well, I mean, what's your definition of being in shape?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna assume that most people have some sort of a standard in mind, right? Like that people want to. I'm going to assume, because nobody I think has outright said it, so this is based on assumptions. But people come in with an expectation of like maybe meeting a minimum capability level, so that they're not either holding the class up, so they're not being a burden on the coach, or they're not sticking out like a sore thumb.
I think
right?
I think you hit that on the head right there of, being a burden to the class. So let's take that and understand what we said in the first episode, and that is what we actually are. We're personal training. So
I hate that word.
I know it's,
but yeah,
it's essentially what
we're
we
doing.
do, though. It's
that's
personal
what we're doing.
training. But you can't be a burden if you're doing personal training.
Nope.
You can't do that. So there's that false impression that what we do is like Zumba, where it's like everybody's doing the same damn thing, and you got one instructor sitting there going, oh shit, that guy's gonna fuck themselves up. We can't do that. Oh God, I got to go save that person. No. That's not it. We are doing personal training. It just happens to be that you're in a group of people as we do this. So that in itself should immediately be an excuse that's eliminated. You're not going to be a burden.
Yeah, we're working individually with each person in a group setting, right? The coach moves around the room, he's working with that person, but why do you not need to get it to get in shape first? One, because I like Josh said, we will find out. So there is an ideal model for how to do one of the lifts, like for example the squat. There's an ideal way to do that, but not everybody's going to be able to move according to that fashion. Well, what are you going to do? What's the alternative? To not then squat? No, you get stronger by squatting to the extent that you can, right? And then little by little working towards moving towards towards the ideal version of that lift. And then little by little you will get stronger, and that's actually how you get in shape is by coming in and working on getting in shape. So if you're not there, this is actually the right place for you. I mean, I don't think I'm saying this correctly,
but I think another question to this is like, if you're going to get in shape before coming in here and starting,
what are you going to do? Squat.
What are you going to do? All right. So I've had guys in the past do P90X. Yes, I know I'm old. People don't do P90X anymore, but all the beach body stuff. I mean, people will do these things and then they'll be like, all right, now I'm ready to do it. You know what happens when they come in after doing that stuff and they start working out with us? The same thing that happens had they not done it in the first place. They come in and they're like, shit, man, I'm still sore. Man, this is harder than I thought it would be. It lasts for about 2 weeks. And then they start coming in and be like, oh.
And there's really not much of a difference of where they would start from.
There's not. Absolutely
There's not much of a difference of where they would start from.
So basically all they did was prolong this time before they actually started. Instead of starting immediately, they waited, let's say 3 to 6 months before they actually decided to pull the trigger and come in. And now it's like, well, that's 3 to 6 months that you're behind.
So what actually, okay, so how do we do this with someone maybe is a little bit is apprehensive, and they're worried about, that they're not in the right place, right? So somebody joins a gym, right? The first thing that we have them do before they start in a group session is they do an intro, right? The intro is going to allow us to teach the lifts. It's going to allow us to figure out starting weights. And it's going to allow us to figure out what sort of modifications we need to make as a result of injuries, limitations, or things that a specific plan for that person. And assuming that, weight maybe weight isn't appropriate, right? Well, one of the modifications is, before we ever add a barbell to the equation, like for example, the squat, we're going to have that person use their body weight. And if they can't start with a weighted squat, more than likely their range of motion is such that it's not going to be ideal. So what we would do is we would progress the range of motion down an inch at a time over a period of, depends on the person, 1 to, call it 4 weeks. And little by little, that person is getting stronger, right? So we've modified the movement to be able to meet that person where they're at. And so you get individuals that'll come in on a walker, right? We'll progress the range of motion that we can, and lo and behold, they get more and more capable, they get stronger, and they're eventually squatting to depth with their own body weight. And then we can begin to add weight. Well, if they are frail enough that they're not able to progress to squat down to depth correctly, or to the correct depth, well, when we add weight, we're not going to add 50 pounds. We're going to add a 10-pound plate. We're going to
might even
use a
have
10-pound
5.
bar. Hope this is going to make it to YouTube. There are 1-pound plates. There are 1/4-pound plates. So we can titrate the amount of weight that's added almost as infinitely necessary, infinitely small enough to meet somebody where they're at. So this is how you get in shape, right? You don't get in shape to get in, to get in shape to be able to come in here. You get in shape by coming in here and getting stronger. And it's our job to figure out how to meet you where we need to meet you where you're at, so that you can be able to do that.
Yep.
That's the value of the coach. That what we talked about in our last episode.
Yeah. Let's, with what we do versus what somebody's going to do to get in shape, we got to talk about training versus exercise. So what we do here is training. It's very goal oriented. We're going to go in here with a specific reason to get you stronger. And we're going to do that through the squat, the press, the bench press.
So then
the
what's
deadlift.
exercise?
Exercise. Let's just be honest with it. It's fucking around in the gym. Okay. You are moving around aimlessly in the gym. Most people don't know what they're actually doing.
Hoping that it's going to meet, hoping that it's going to get you to whatever goal you may have.
I used to be associated with CrossFit for years, and people would come in and be like, man, CrossFit's the greatest training modality there is. The problem with that statement is, when do you repeat a movement to see if you've gotten better? And the answer to that is, who knows? It's random, Some of the best CrossFit programs will actually have a strength component to it, and those are the ones that see the best progress because of the fact the strength component is the training. Yep. Whereas the high intensity workout they do afterwards, the WOD, if you will, it's just exercise. They're just flailing around. But if you're not doing CrossFit, if you're just right, if you're doing a bunch of cardio, if you're doing a whole bunch of machines, what, for instance, like what are the increments on a machine, on a plate machine? It's
10 pounds, whatever that stack
15
is.
pounds, sometimes 20 pounds. We've already just said we can sit there and incrementally load somebody half a pound.
Yep.
You can't do that on a machine. So the way you have to titrate that up is you've got to sit there, increase the amount of reps you do, and then bring it back down. But a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that. They're just going to sit there and stack on the plates and continue to go. So again, there's no accountability. There's no guidance. There's no coach behind this. Yeah. We're telling you
there's no plan behind it. That's really the thing. So training would be working towards a goal, systematically working towards a goal with a plan that's laid out to be able to get you from where you're at to that goal.
Exactly. This is why we train and we talk about training here all the time versus exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have a plan behind this. And it's you can repeat it over and over and over again for the rest of your life. I mean, you know what you're doing, you know how to modify it, and we're going to teach you that stuff as well. So you can continue to do this and not just aimlessly walk into a gym and just, I don't know what I'm doing, and just go try different machines and hope for the best results possible. God, I love watching that. Sorry, but I do. I'm just
so we've got a number of the starting strength gyms are riddled with success story after success story of this, right? People walking in with limited capability, frail, and 3, 6, 6 months, months afterwards, coming back and with the story of what they were able to do in comparison to where they were before. One of the things that we will do over the next future episodes is talk to some of these members so that they can share their story of what training has done with them. But we'll highlight a few to begin with. And the one that jumps out to me, we're gonna say Linda Patillo, who was diagnosed. Hold on, you're gonna have to help remind me of what would the diagnosis was.
Basically, the big thing is she's got Parkinson's.
Well, but even before Parkinson's, she had she had some sort of a cardiovascular issue. She was bedridden for like a year.
Yeah.
She had a hard time. She had a very, very hard time getting up out of a chair. And she comes in, she comes in and starts training, and she's able to stand up on her own. She's independent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's able to move around, and she's training with Parkinson's. And now her doctor, where he was seeing her every 6 weeks, and told her, I don't need to see you for 6 months.
That's right.
Right. Strength training is not going to reverse Parkinson's. However, it is going to stave off. It is going to help stave off to the extent possible the effects of it for as long as possible.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's no cure for it. And, obviously it will progress. It will get worse. But the stronger we can keep her, the more independence she has.
The more independence and she's going to be, the more capable she is for as long as possible.
Yeah. And with that independence becomes, one of the things she talks about is like, fear of being around animals, small children, getting underneath her feet and causing her to trip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time when she first started, she's frail. She's got osteoporosis.
Unsure of every step.
Yeah. So if she falls, she breaks a hip, that could be
a death sentence.
Yeah, that's a death sentence. I mean, that could definitely be the end of it, because there's something what the mortality of it is like 6 months. If you make it 6 months, you're good. But if you don't, I mean, your likelihood of you living beyond that is pretty much none, So now with her being in here, nothing else has changed in the almost 2 years that she's been with us, except for being with us. She had a bone density scan, and it actually increased. I don't remember. I got to go back and look at her results.
We're highlighting results off the top of our head.
But she got an increase, or had an increase in her bone density without changing anything else. It's just coming in here and lifting.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, so now she's got bone density increase, so she's stronger. Her bones are stronger.
We need a link. Sorry, we'll link the YouTube video on the Starting Strength Gyms podcast.
Yeah.
to this one in the show notes, which kind of highlights her story.
Yeah.
And we'll also have her on on this podcast as a guest too, to talk through it.
You know, on top of her having stronger bones, she's now more sure-footed when she walks around, and she's not like, she can go hang out with her grandkids, not great grandkids. I don't think they have it yet. I gotta check that. She's gonna be real mad at me for that. Old. I know, but you know, there's health benefits, there's confidence that comes with all this stuff. So you don't need to be in shape before coming in here to get in shape.
You come in here to get in shape.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, we see this. We're talking about a woman who's 78 years old, and you know, her husband comes in with her who's 78 as well. But we also see this with younger kids too. Like, we've got a girl in here who's 12 years old who came in here very shy.
Mm-hmm. Her dad trained. Dad brought her in, right? She does archery.
Yep, she does archery. And now her confidence is through the roof.
Well, because she's getting feedback from her archery coach of like, you know, she's more stable. She's able to hold a position longer. Right? You know, I don't know. I'm going to assume that her accuracy is getting better over time. But you know, the people that she's working with in her sport are noticing the things, you know, the improvement that she had, and are talking about it
because she's more capable.
Yep.
She's more capable, you know? And so, yeah, it's not just for older clientele. It's for everybody. This thing runs the full gamut. So, you know, don't be afraid to come in here and get started. It's easy for us to say, but we see this time and time again, guys. And we're, like JD said, we're going to bring guests on that will reiterate this stuff for us. Or not for us, for you. This is for you. This isn't for us. We know these things, but this is for you. This is your journey, and we're going to sit there and we're going to continue to help guide you through this in the most simplistic ways that we possibly can. Anything else you want to say on that?
No, I think, well, yeah, no, hold on a second. Let's talk about mental resiliency, right? I think one of the things that jumped out to me whenever we first started training, I've mentioned this previously. I started training to get big enough to scare my daughter's suitors. Whenever, you know, they were 5 when I started training, you know, lifting heavy like this.
Like, say, man, when your girl's going to start dating? If
they're not.
If you're thinking this at 5,
when they're 35,
when
they're going to start dating. But so, you know, fairly typical, right? I wanted to get bigger. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to be. I'm a tall guy, right? But I wanted to be big. Like, the thought of, you know, darkening a doorway like that was appealing to me, right? When I realized that there was really something here with the strength training, was what I noticed was I was just a better person to be around, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a fairly short temper. I've got, you know, I can definitely have some anger issues, but I was just in a better place mentally as a result of training, because of that capability. You know, there was nothing that was needed, to be proved. So what I realized is, you know, some of the what I would have called a secondary benefit at the time, which is improved mental health, really ends up being a primary benefit for a lot of people. But it's almost difficult, very, very difficult to appreciate the mental resiliency that comes with lifting a heavy weight, you know, over time, and kind of putting yourself in a position where you have to do difficult things over and over and over again. And you know, that to me is extremely important. It's almost now it's more important than being physically strong.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get there without the process of getting physically stronger.
Yeah, no, and that's the same thing that I dealt with myself. Is, you know, I've had anger issues since I was a little kid, and getting stronger helped me feel more secure in my own skin, and realizing that insecurity that I had before really played a role in my frustration and forcing myself to get angry, essentially. But, you know, realizing that, you know, I've got a son that, you know, at 5 years old, I'm sitting there going, man, just try. Because one of the big things with strength training is that dude, man, you don't know until you try.
That's exactly right.
You don't know if you can squat this weight until you try. And you're going to fail sometimes, and that's okay. You get okay with failure because you know that that failure is going to drive you to push beyond your normal limits. And that's the great thing. So that's what we got for you today, guys. Get in here. You don't need to get in shape before getting in shape. Come in, see us. We'll walk you through some of the stuff, and give you an understanding of what actually to expect.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a like, share with a friend, share with somebody that you don't like. And on our next episode, we're going to be talking about this is hard. Why do I need to push through? All right. Thanks, guys.